Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another great episode of God in Therapy. But Tara and
Jason.
Jay, welcome to Tuesday night again. We have a great discussion tonight. I'm almost ready to jump into it because I think we have to really unpack this particular conversation tonight. But I want to, of course, thank our viewers. Welcome in. Y'all come on in the room. Thank you for your support. Thank y'all for the consistency. Thank you for consistently sending in your emails, sending in just your feedback. You know, y'all, feedback is good because it lets us know that you are watching and you're really vested in what we're doing and you really care about what we're doing here. So, hey, Sharanda. Hey, Antonio, my favorite couple coming on in here in the room. Getting this. I think we did Tuesday therapy, Jay. I think we Tuesday therapy for them. That's what's up because they're going to be all the way where they need to be by the time they get married. So, hey, Latria, good to see you again tonight. Welcome in the room. Y'all, we appreciate you. We love having you here. Jay, how you doing tonight? You ready for this conversation?
I'm ready for this conversation. Look, it's April 15th? Y'all got y'all taxes done?
Don't
it's tax day. Y'all
don't even bring it up.
Those taxes done.
I was stressed out getting that mess done yesterday. But yes, make sure y'all as a couple get your taxes done. That's a whole nother episode. Wear your W-2, you know.
That part.
But yes, we're glad to be here tonight. Hey, Erin, nice to have you on. We hope you enjoy the show tonight. Got a very interesting topic that I think can really connect with all peoples, the single, the married. We're tonight, and you know what? Let me just read.
It's the build up.
It's the build up. The build up, because you know I'm not good with build up. I just be like, there it is, and let's talk about it. Like y'all work with me on the build up. They be like, just walk slowly. I'm like, let's go down the street and address it. Like I'm really direct like that. So y'all got to help me. So I think the way to build it up is just to read it, and then y'all can figure out where we're going. We ain't even got a title for the night. Like we don't, y'all. We'll figure it out some way halfway.
I don't know if we can get a title for this.
I don't know. Y'all help us. That's what y'all gonna do. At the end of the show, y'all give us a title. Y'all like Tara J. Y'all should have called this boom. Cause you just tell us, okay? And we gonna like vote on it, and we gonna use a title from y'all. How about that? Hey, Georgette, love to see you every week. Every week. Thank you for being a faithful follower here.
Absolutely.
We are going to read this. This came from somebody in the YouTube chat because, you know, people ask us stuff in the YouTube chat. Y'all, we do read this stuff. I promise you. If you comment on something, we are going to read it, and I will try to respond. Now, I didn't respond to this because it was a lot to type because I was like, I'm not typing this, but hopefully they'll watch the show tonight. So we love you too, Georgette. We love you too. But we're going to just respond, and hopefully this person is watching this broadcast and they will get it because it was just way too much to answer in this chat. So y'all, here we go. This person said, this is, okay, first of all, context. We did a series on sexless marriages like, 2-3 years ago? 3 seasons ago or something?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. We put out a tape about sexless marriages and the issues people are going through in sexless marriages and some things they needed to address in these marriages. Yes, y'all, there are people getting married and not having sex with their spouse. And I'm not talking about like people that's been married 30 years and it just got dusty. I'm talking about folks that's married 3 months, less than 1 year, and not having sex with their spouses. So we had to really start addressing, y'all, what is happening in these marriages. So after she apparently went back in the archives and started this video, she said, my husband does not want sex at all. And I'm at a point where I've gotten prescriptions to chemically lower my libido. I haven't taken them yet, but I'm tempted. I don't want to cheat and I don't watch pornography. But what I'm struggling with is the temptation to do it myself, if you know what I mean. And I don't want to sin. I also haven't drank in 2 years, but the urge to drink is strong. This is the only thing I know to do to keep me sane. I've been praying, asking God, please take my sexual desires away. Look, I'm young, I'm pretty, and I'm doing the best I can as a wife, but he says sex just isn't his thing. How can that be? We've only been married a year. I don't know. So woman who's been married a year, young woman, and she's literally praying, God, take away her sexual desires because her husband does not want to have sex with her. Now, y'all, this is a sensitive topic. We're gonna enter this in slow because to marry a person, and you've been waiting a long time, especially for my Christians. You've been married, waiting to get married a long time. You've been celibate, abstinent, all of that. And then you get with someone assuming that now is my time. Boom, I'm going to have marital sex because we're allowed to, right? And then you married someone who says, I don't actually like having sex. Now, why didn't this conversation come up
prior?
I'm assuming there's some folks that did not have premarital counseling, because if you have premarital counseling with me, we definitely discuss sex. What is the expectation? What is everybody like? What's the frequency and all of that? Because you really need to match up sexually with a person, because it can cause a lot of tension, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness, because somebody feels like they got trapped. Mm-hmm. Somebody feels like the person's not loving them, not connecting with them. So I don't know why this conversation wasn't had, but here she is, Jay. She's married.
Yeah. And I got so many questions. I have so many questions. So I will say,
me too, but go
our
ahead.
responses will be based off of what we can assume
what we can
assume. And we'll take it from all different angles. But yeah, I'm like you. This is a tough one. This is one that I don't understand. And so taking it from the viewpoint or from the lens of a male, only being there for a year, and that's, I don't know. I think that's what
I know. You're perplexed. You're shocked. You don't know. It's okay. You can be honest, babe. You can say your emotions. You can be honest. You're perplexed.
I am. So
you're confused.
Okay, I'm going into this thing assuming that they didn't have any sexual relations before they got married.
We assuming.
That's what we're assuming. And so a couple of, I guess, from a man's perspective, and it can be from a lady's perspective too, but I guess going into something as intimate as sex, you have expectations.
Right.
And expectations a lot of times come from a standpoint of what has been placed in front of us or what we have learned from the past.
Right.
Okay. So don't know if this guy has experience or not, or other sexual partners or not. But there could be expectations that she's not able to fulfill. And so when they get into being intimate with each other, a bar wasn't hit, a level wasn't hit, something, it didn't go the way he thought it was supposed to go.
Well, that could be it. And like I said, y'all, we're going to talk about this from multiple angles, because Jay, I had a guy in the chat responded to her and said, you don't even have to, your husband doesn't have to have sex with you. Sex, right. Yeah, babe, I blocked him because he kept saying that on everybody's response. But this was another man came into the chat and said, because some of this stuff is psychological. He said sex is sinful even in marriage. I don't know what Bible I would send you the screenshot. He said sex is sinful even in marriage. Your husband doesn't have to have sex with you. And I just blocked him because at this stage in my life, I just don't need to respond, because I'm working on me. I'm working on me. And I don't respond to everything. I don't have a capacity.
He was trying to make your comments go viral. That's all. He was trying to
babe, and that man, somewhere in his context, somebody has trained him that sex is bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's married or ever want to be, but he was coming in this chat to tell this lady nobody has to have sex with you. So we're gonna go to the scriptures, because in case some of y'all thinking that mess when you're in married. I shouldn't have said that mess. See, this is what happened in the day when I'm tired. In case some of you are thinking incorrectly, in case you're thinking, I want to give you the word of God in which to correct your incorrect thinking. Let me say, hey, to a couple of people. This is what happened. I'm tired. I got my coffee, though. Don't worry about it. Hey, Tivuna. Hey, listen, then speak. Hey, family. Good to see y'all. But we're going to go to the scriptures, because before we even go down this road, I need to tell you people what the word of God says about sex. so that we are not confused, because as Christians, we have a blueprint. You don't get to just decide what you said or somebody else said or your mama, daddy, or somebody. We don't do that. God has already addressed it. Hey, Richard, good to see you again, Richard. Love to see you. So let's put up the scripture, Jay. If you can so eloquently read
Magic.
from
Boom. There we go.
1 Corinthians, we're going to read chapter 7, 3 through 5.
The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Well, gee, we could just send that to her, because here's the thing. She's dealing with what the word of God said would happen. If you deprive your husband or wife of sex, it says it's going to lead them into temptation, whether it's temptation to commit adultery, temptation to masturbate, which is what she's talking about, temptation to look at pornography, all which are sinful. Because let me help some of y'all. I feel like we about to have about 5 different conversations. I feel about because y'all, Jay, I got to give you a couple of, like you said, something may have happened, and I will give you that. You say maybe guys walk into marriages and they have an expectation sexually, and especially if they've never had sex with the woman, and she's just not knocking it out the park, whatever. And so now he's like, that's not it, and I don't want her no more. Okay. According to the Bible, he can't do that.
Right.
So let's go there. We got to now work on it, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's her case, because I don't know, this is a ghost person that sent this in. If that's the case, ma'am, where you ask him, sir, what is the problem? Is it me? Am I not performing? Is it something I'm not doing for you? I'm not turning you on? Because she had to be cute enough for him to marry. And she said it, I'm pretty, I'm young, so that ain't it.
Right.
But it could be in her performance. So now, Jay, what does she do? You said have the conversation. If he says that, then what? He says, it's just you, babe. You just not, my expectations in the bed are not being met.
So for that particular scenario, I would definitely say they would need to go see sex therapists.
All right. Yes.
They would need to get some professional help to kind of break down, because now, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because one path is going to lead to another.
Right.
But, find out what the blockage is, whether it's mental. Is he stressed out? Is he, is he second guessing marriage? Because I'm not going to lie. A lot of times you will get into a marriage or you'll get into this relationship called marriage, and you start to second guess it. And even when you're trying to be intimate, there could be other things of, I got to pay bills. I got other responsibilities. I'm stressed out at work. So there could be a number of things that the therapist could then help this couple break down, those different walls and those different barriers.
Right. In
breaking it down, this is one question I would have. And I know I'm about to open up a box of worms when I say this. Where did your expectations come from?
Pornography, Jason. And Jason does not agree with me.
I didn't say I didn't agree. I'm not saying I don't agree.
We talked about this. I went right into, he addicted to porn. I'm judging. And I'm not really just judging.
Not really addicted. But when you say addicted, I wouldn't say addicted. Now, porn could play a huge role. I will say that.
Jay, some people don't know.
It can be an addiction, but I wouldn't jump off the bat and just say he's addicted to porn because he.
No, that was just me
being funny.
Me being prophetic. This is what I told Jay. I talked to a lot of people in this situation, actually. I counsel a lot of women who have married men who are addicted to porn. They didn't know these men were addicted. They were just being celibate. They were abstaining. Let me put this. They were dating them and they were like, I met a man of God. He was abstinent. He didn't mind us not having sex before marriage. Oh, the angels in heaven, they're screaming our names. God has blessed me. This man don't even try to have sex with me. And then they marry these men and find out they're addicted to porn. That's why, because he was handling himself at home. And they didn't know that. because they didn't ask them that. They probably asked them, are you abstaining from sex? They didn't ask them, are you abstaining from sexual acts?
Yeah.
Are you taking care of yourself at home? They didn't ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're married to men that are addicted to pornography. And it's a big deal in the Christian church that we need to address, because there are men and women in the Christian church, Jay, that are masturbating,
Mm-hmm.
that are watching porn, and they think that that is a different level of holiness. They believe as long as I'm not having sex with a person, I am not sinning. And you even have people that will tell people in the church or young people, it's better that you masturbate than the fornicate. Y'all, it's all in the same bubble. It's all in the same boat. If nobody told you that, to masturbate and to watch pornography is still lustfulness.
It's still lust.
You're still sinning. You're literally watching sexual acts. And what does sin do, Jay? Rob, steal, and destroy. And what it's doing is, it is robbing a lot of people in their marriages. I'm counseling a lot of ladies, y'all, that are saying, my husband prefers pornography and masturbation than having sex with me. What should I do? Christian women that were waiting. The Lord had blessed them. And now they're addicted. And they say, now what am I supposed to do? Now they feel like God set them up. They're like, so I guess I need to just remain abstinent. Maybe this is my suffering in my marriage that I need to go to. This is my, the for better, for worse. This is my worst. I have to now continue to go without sex for the rest of my life. That is so terrible. Yeah.
It is. And I see the chat blowing up over here.
All right, let's look at some of y'all responses.
As I said, before we get to that real quick, one thing I just thought about when you were saying with porn as well, it can be other partners. It can be, and with those experiences, something one would think as innocent as a club, and I'm not even saying a strip club, but just that club atmosphere, but in the clubs, your expectations from there can even lead to, hey, I'm dancing with this chick whose body is what I'm imagining, but when I get home, that body is not the same. Right. And now I've lusted in my mind, and I've sat up here and actually sinned because this person I've been dancing with, I've imagined myself with her, and I get home and my wife is not that person that I imagined. Like I said, it can go. There are a whole bunch of different.
But you're right, because can go down. Pornography is going to choose certain people with certain body builds. They're not choosing the regular bodies that most people, the average body. They're choosing these people with, body images that are uncommon. Strippers, typically these are people with uncommon body things and things they have augmented their body types. So now when you marry a regular person out here and you get in the bedroom and you're like, that don't look like the stripper down there, that don't look like the lady on the porn, now you are making your wife feel undervalued, like she is not attractive to you, and that's your own personal issue that you need to pray about, you need to talk to God about. And then some of you have had so many sexual partners and have seen so many people. So now when you get with your spouse who is a good partner, loving partner, prays for you, everything you ask God for, you're having problems in the bedroom because they don't fit all these images. It's a real thing, Jay. And it's their issue, but they're putting it on their spouse. Well, maybe you need to look like this, do this, twirl around on the fan, do a couple of cartwheels. You need to start twerking for me. That lady ain't asked for all that. Right. And if that's what you wanted, you should have said that before you married her, that I'm not going to be able to be attracted to you if you're not doing all these extra little acrobatic things and you're not built like this. How did you finesse them? And then you decide to turn the point. So let me see some of the stuff. Let's read some of the stuff everybody's saying. Aaron said, let's scroll up a little bit. Let me see. I see Aaron said, I get married in June, and though I've already defiled the marital bed with my fiance, I decided over a year and a half ago to be celibate until marriage. I know for sure. Good, Aaron. Aaron said, I messed up, but I'm coming back. Then she said that I need to change my set thoughts about sex because of the purity culture I grew up in, because he is ready. Aaron, purity culture, a lot of us, it's always either sex is bad. You could get that in the religious church sometimes, the sex is bad. And then a lot of people feel like, well, sex is bad, and then I'm gonna go all the way over here and be bad. Sex is made by God. It's created by God to be shared by a man and a wife. So it is a good thing. When we talk to our daughters, we tell them sex is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. When you get married, you get to share this with a spouse. We just tell them that it's a beautiful thing in the context in which it was created, right? So, but I get it. That has caused some of us to go to one extreme or the next. But I want to say to Aaron, you really want to definitely practice faithfulness and getting rid of lust before the marriage, because anything you don't kill before the marriage is still there when you get married. Marriage does not fix problems. It exasperates them. So if either one of you is still struggling in lust and not able to abstain, you can still be in a marriage and not abstain, meaning this is where a lot of the adultery comes in, because a person is not ever trained to say, when I am tempted, I know how to discipline my body. So if you don't discipline your body before you get married, you will not discipline it in marriage. Meaning when somebody is tempting you for sex and you're already married, you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to say, no, I'm good, I'm faithful, and I won't do that, because you never practiced it in marriage. So y'all, I'm trying to tell you, some of you, even though you're with these people you love and you're going to marry them, but you need to abstain before the marriage to practice faithfulness.
Yep.
Now, Richard says, I think that's the dangers of when we have sex before marriage. When we do get married, we have this expectation of our partner is going to hit it at the park like the previous people were in bed with. Yes, Richard. Ain't nobody fault that y'all got all this experience, that y'all was in the streets. That's nobody's fault you were in the streets.
Right.
If you were not in the streets, you wouldn't know what you like. You wouldn't know they were not good in bed. You wouldn't know that it was mild or mediocre. It would have been all that you had. But because you were in the streets, now they doing regular sex stuff, and you like, well, this ain't enough. Well, the people y'all were having sex with, they were all in the streets getting a lot of experience from a lot of people. So that's why they were turning a bunch of tricks. Y'all doing too much. Sex is supposed to be a beautiful thing, a beautiful dance between a couple. But y'all out here doing uncommon things. Y'all doing stuff all out the box. Because you was in the streets. I shouldn't have said that people was in the streets, huh? Jay always looking at me like
I'm not. They were. I guess they were in the streets. If you said it,
baby, they was in the streets.
Sex is a beautiful thing.
Sex
That should be the name of the show.
Sex is a beautiful thing. If done in the context, that's too long. They're gonna come up with something. Melinda says, porn is like pouring into an empty vessel, and the vessel has a hole at the bottom. Never going to fulfillment you were chasing. Tell them, Melinda, y'all just over there. You just doing something. You raping yourself. I shouldn't say you raping yourself.
No,
you
that used to be a joke we used to say.
I know. I got the term from somewhere. We did that was a joke as young people. In y'all was doing too much.
Stop raping yourself.
Stop doing that to you. Your body doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your future husband or wife. Your body belongs to your future husband and wife, and you taking it for yourself. You're taking it. You're greedy. Get off of yourself. Stop that. Yourself don't even want to do all that. Cut that out, because you need to sustain so that you will be able to be faithful in marriage. Renee says, so how should we address your person's sexualness before you and before marriage? So how should we address so I'm assuming you're saying, Renee, how do you address this conversation? You address it just like we're saying. Hey, so when we get married, like first of all, what is your sexual experience? You're going to have to ask a person. I know people don't want to tell the truth. You say, did you have a lot of sex and a lot of sexual experiences? They say, yeah. Okay. So what has that done to you mentally about sex? Like, what is your viewpoint about sex since you've had all of this experience and you've been with all these people? Because y'all, some people have been traumatized in their sexual experience. Some women and men have been traumatized through sexual abuse or things they were involved in. And so now a lot of them don't want to have sex because of the context in which sex was introduced to them.
Yeah. Yep.
There are men and women that don't like sex because they were abused, y'all, or trafficked.
And I was going to say that was another rabbit hole or trail you can go down, because if a person does have that sexual abuse from being a child or a teenager or what have you, whether it's molestation, whether it's rape, that can be triggered in the bedroom for both male or females, especially if something happens in a way that reminded them of that situation. Right. It can completely turn somebody off.
Right.
Completely. I know somebody that I was talking to, and because of the words their spouse used, reminded them of a bad situation or a traumatic
Mm.
situation that happened just from, actually, it was just one word. And they used that one word in the act of sex, and it killed it for a while. They had to go to counseling, talk to a therapist, open up to find out, what happened, where it came from. But that's why it's important for premarital and for just that whole communication piece, because if I have trauma that I haven't shared with you,
Right.
and you do something that triggers that trauma,
Mm-hmm.
you starting to second guess stuff. You're like, okay, what happened? Why didn't you tell me about it? How am I supposed to know about it? Poor thing with this comment, they've only been married for a year.
Right.
So if something has been triggered,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't know going into the marriage.
No, she didn't. No.
And now she's second guessing herself. She's talking about taking medication to lower her libido. I mean, that's crazy.
Because think about it. If my spouse was sexually molested or raped, now I feel bad asking them for sex when I know sex, is triggering for them. So
It's coming from
now
a place of harm versus
right,
a place of love.
right. So now what do I do though? Because I didn't know that.
Right.
If I didn't know that you were traumatized, I didn't know you were molested, but I want us to come together and experience this beauty of marriage. What does the person now do? So here's the issue, you guys, because that person did not know what you were going through and what you went through. They just expected they was marrying somebody with a healthy sexual appetite like them.
Mm-hmm.
And now the person, whoever did that to you, whoever abused you, has now robbed you twice. They robbed you of your innocence, whatever they did to you, however they abused you, whatever you went through, they robbed you then. That's the devil robbing you. And now the devil is robbing you in your marriage. That's something that is beautiful and ordained by God. You're not able to connect with your spouse, become one with your spouse. Like, you're not able to do that because somebody robbed you. I see Melinda saying, she says, sex in marriage is an act of worship. It took me so long to get comfortable with it because of the perverted nature I was introduced to it. That's exactly what we're talking about, guys.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're talking about. A lot of you, there were incest in your families, brothers, sisters, cousins. That was molestation from older people in your family, men, women, because you have some same-sex stuff going on for men and women by family members and neighbors and everything. So the way it was introduced to a lot of people has perverted sex. And unfortunately, it remains perverted for them. So then a lot of them get addicted to pornography. They get addicted to masturbation because somebody did this to them and introduced it to them. And I need a lot of you all to really think about that. How was sex introduced to me, and how may that introduction have twisted and shaped the way I view sex and how I'm connecting with my spouse? Because if it is, then that means that you're going to have to get counseling. You're going to have to get deep trauma counseling on this. And you may have to go to sex therapy. And there are Christian sex therapists, y'all, who are they can really help you deal with sex. What's going on with you? What's going through your mind when you're thinking about sex? There are people that you can talk to, but what we can't do is sit in it.
Right.
And tell our spouse, this is just what it is. This is where I am. And you need to just stop asking me about it. You need to stop. Because I've talked to couples where the spouse then makes the one that's not getting it feel dirty. Why you want to have sex all the time? What's wrong with you? Why you got to want it all the time? Because they supposed to want it.
Right.
They're married.
That part.
Don't you dare make them feel dirty because they want to do something that they are promised to do and able to do in marriage. According to the scriptures, your body don't even belong to you. It belongs to your spouse. And Jay, I think some of them psychologically have a problem with my spouse asking for my body. They have a problem with it.
Once again, based on past traumas, I can totally see that. I can totally see where it's, and I think it's even beyond, because I know a lot of people take the whole submission thing out of context.
Right.
And they say you're not supposed to, as my wife, you can't deny me. You're not supposed to deny me. We just read First Corinthians. But even with that, there's a human side where you have to I had to get into your feelings and who you were. There are times where you would say, hey, I don't feel like it. I don't feel good. I don't want to. I have to be empathetic in those moments.
Right.
I can't be selfish and be like, well, what's going on? You don't want to. No.
Right.
And so, and somebody put in the comments, Dora put in the comments, discovery is supposed to be a part of the process in marriage. You are learning a person.
Right.
You are learning what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. And it's the same thing with sex. You're learning that other person's body.
Right.
You're learning about them. So even on the flip side and the dangers of having sex before marriage, if I'm basing our sexual activity off of somebody who did it for me sexually, and I'm like, yeah, you my wife, but you're not pleasing me the way somebody else did.
Right.
That is so dangerous.
And you will have people that will tell their ex, whatever, my wife, hey, boy, I'm a marriage counselor. I counsel a lot of folks. And there are people who have told other people, men that have told other women they used to be with, women that have told other men they used to be with, that my current spouse is not doing it like you used to.
They tell the ex that. They don't tell the wife.
Okay.
That's what I was about to say. God,
they ain't that nutty. They ain't that crazy.
But so now you're going back
this
to
other person. Then the spouse found out you didn't tell this other person that you used to deal with that they have done it, y'all. My life is very interesting as a therapist. All I can tell you, I ain't got to make nothing up. This is a problem because they have these experiences, and y'all, that's your own issue. I really want you to understand that when you went out there and you got all these experiences, that's an issue you must handle. You don't make your spouse feel bad. They came in this thing pure. They came in this thing believing that this is something me and you about to explore. We're about to learn. We're about to get into it. But then you came in here with all this experience that you're judging them by that they don't even know you're judging them by.
Right.
And you're not even trying to have a conversation. Y'all, sex is a conversation. But many people don't have conversations about sex. I would even say you and I didn't have a conversation about sex. We got married and we started having sex, but we didn't get an education about each other's bodies to well into the marriage. Like I would tell you. So guys, first of all, I'm gonna give y'all a book. I'm just gonna skip past real quick. I'm gonna give you guys a book that me and my husband read together. Let me back it up. There. A Celebration of Sex. This is not my book, so that you know it must be good because it's not my book, but it's a book I give a lot of my clients. A Celebration of Sex. You can get it on Amazon by Dr. Douglas Rosnaugh. This book was so great. I tell them they need to give it out, Jay, in like 6th grade. Not 6th grade. Not 6th grade. Well, there are parts of it. And the reason why is because it talks about the anatomy. How many of you took human anatomy to the point where you learned about the sexual organs of the other gender? There were things I learned about the male genitals that I did not know and did not learn until I read this book. Y'all can say what you want. I never studied the male genitalia. I know my own and I know what theirs look like, and actually it told me some things about my own stuff that I didn't know, that I never studied. Just being honest with you. And me and him read this book. I'm like, babe, these are the parts. The book is telling you all the parts. We look at all the diagrams. It gave us like little exercises to do to build intimacy for the build up. Like we did this around year 15, y'all. Year 15. We decided we're gonna learn about it, right? Because we really wanted to be in a state of pleasing the other person. We want to know all things marriage, y'all. We wanted to know everything. So that was a great book because it gave us some education. This is a Christian author, Christian sex therapist. So when you get in there, it's talking about, it's actually called A Celebration of Sex, a guide to enjoying God's gift of sexual intimacy. That's the full title. Okay. So folk, y'all be like, what she got us looking at this sex book? No, it ain't the sex book under your mattress. This is a godly sex book. Okay. This is the only one that I recommend because it talks fully about the gift of sex from married couples. And it talks about, I really want y'all to look into it because it talks about intimacy, how it's created. Because some of your spouses are going to have to be taught and walked into intimacy with you because of how sex was introduced to them. A lot of you will need to do that. But going back to this person, because I really want to address this, because she's saying she's struggling with wanting to start pulling down her libido.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Tempting to masturbate. Now he done got the girl drinking again. Everything he's doing to ignore the needs of his wife is having this woman shrivel up.
Yeah.
And go down the path that the word of God says, people, you are responsible. I know you think you're not. But if you're not having sex with your spouse and you are refusing to give them that gift and deal with that, you are just as responsible for the sin that they are tempted by. It is your responsibility. And for you not to care. And I've even heard people, Jay, tell their spouse, go find somebody and go do something.
Wow. Wow.
Because they are addicted to pornography or they don't want to.
Why be married? Why?
Want the bills paid. We talked about that in the other episode.
Look.
These folk want their bills paid, but they don't want to sleep with their spouse. I don't know what's wrong with y'all.
Horrible.
Y'all tell me. You get married to somebody, you don't want to have sex with them, but you want to keep them. What kind of finessing is that?
Yeah.
What in the world are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need answers. Call in here and tell us. Why in the world they get mad at me? I'll be yelling in the mic. Let me back up. Everybody, they be getting on me. Stop yelling at the people. I'm not yelling at the people. I need answers because I'm upset for your spouse. I'll be doggone if I waited doing all that praying, doing all that abstaining, all that listening to worship music to keep myself together. And I marry this man and he tell me, hey, I ain't into it. Oh, you gonna get into it or we gonna get them papers. Y'all different from me and y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. I would say you lied to me at that altar. This was not part of our vows and you ain't gonna make me no nun in no marriage. It ain't happening. I don't care what y'all say. This is my podcast. Y'all wrong. Thank you, Melinda, for putting that in the chat. Y'all are wrong. Renee said it. It's called selfishness. It's selfishness. It's sinful what you're doing. Your body does not belong to you. It's in the word of God. So you need to go deal with that because what you're doing is abusive. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with them for wanting to have sex. They're supposed to. The Bible says do it as often. It said come together as often as you can. It said the only reason why they're not supposed to or they can, not supposed to, but the only reason why they can abstain is if they're going into prayer or if they both agree. If they both agree. So that person's not in agreement with you if they keep asking you. If they keep asking you for sex, they're not in agreement. They're not in agreement with that. So you don't get to make them feel bad and dirty. No, that's your problem. I'm sorry. That's your problem and deal with it. I'm sorry, I popped off for a second. Jay, like, are you okay, babe? I just couldn't fathom it. Like, you can't fathom why a man wouldn't be having sex with his wife after you. I can't fathom sitting there letting him not have sex with me. I can't fathom. And this is not good because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be praying for y'all and teaching y'all to abstain and be patient and pray. But I be praying a little different. Sir, no, we need to talk. If you got a trauma, let me know.
And like I said, I just feel bad for her.
I do too.
Because something is going on, something he's not being honest about, something he's not telling her. And like I said, it can be 1,000 different things, but he needs to communicate. He needs to communicate
because these men will make these women think that it's them. And it's not just men doing it. It's women not having sex with their husband. I've counseled that too. And you're making them think it's something they're not doing. You making them jump through all these hoops, knowing that it's you, it's your mind, is what you got going on.
Because normally you hear about this later on in the marriage. You hear about this after, you done had, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. You hear this up. You hear after, he done got a little beer belly and, his his testosterone may be low and his libido is low, and things aren't the same when you first met 25 years ago.
Right.
And you can work through that. And like I said, it's still communication and kind of, but a year, 1 year.
Jay, I've heard 3 months. And that's fine. There's another part. Let me go talk to the other part, because we're gonna leave the men alone in their porn addiction. They said that is not the only reason.
It's more than that.
Yeah. So Jay had another theory. He says, well, sometimes, babe, men can get turned off by the way a woman is behaving in the marriage. And I am willing to also say that's the truth as well, because I have counseled people before where a man says her dominating behaviors are reminding me of a mother, and that's turning me off. What you on for? You doing a lot of you doing a lot of you doing
no, I'm just saying nothing towards you. Are you some kind of way?
The way you was on
okay. Something you need to,
like you had experience.
We're gonna do confession.
Let me stop, because you always try to throw me under a bus. Let me be quiet. They said homegirl got in there trying to running him out the door, and he like, this ain't sexy no more.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to find a better professional way of saying that. Y'all help me. What they said was her mothering personality was reminiscent of his childhood, and it really caused him to be turned off and unattracted to her. So he's struggling with that, because he wants more like an equal, something like when she was his girlfriend.
Want a boo
something
thing,
fresh.
Yeah.
So ladies,
he don't want a mama.
He don't want a mama, because now he feeling like he being molested. Because you mama saying, clean up your clothes, do these dishes, get in here and clean your room. Why you ain't wash the car and take the trash out? Now let's go have some sex.
Right.
Like that's not
inviting. That
ain't the.
So I was watching this. And now that you made me think about something.
I know I throw you out.
So I was watching this show, and it talks about people who take things to the extreme.
Okay.
And so there's this lady, and y'all probably have seen, it's been on Facebook lately, but it's this lady who is so cheap.
Oh yeah.
And I think I showed it to you. She'll literally take like a light bulb from one room to the next.
I saw.
So they can save on their electric bill, and they just do things to the extreme. That is, you think you're gonna make my life that hard, and you get in the bedroom, you be like, all right, let's be intimate.
Right.
You get in the bedroom and be like, hey, it's sexy. No. I don't have to sit up here and sacrifice whatever it is I'm sacrificing because I can't cut a light on. And you're living such a lifestyle that I'm not used to. But you want me, because people got to understand, intimacy is emotional.
It is.
Intimacy is always not physical. It's emotional.
Right.
And so if I'm not there emotionally,
right,
I don't care what you look like. I don't care how fine you are. If I'm not there emotionally, I've checked out.
Because sex is supposed to be freeing, and if you got me in this cage of a bunch of rules and systems in place, I'm not free with you.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to get into that freeness that you need when you're having sex with people. I totally get it.
And so, like I said, it's a lot from her comment that needs to be broken down. Because I'm not going to tell you where my mind is going, but it's just things that if you think about a turn off from whatever perspective, if you think about what turns you off, apply that to someone who could, and it has to be a strong thought process, but apply that to, I don't want to have sex with you.
Well,
I don't want to have sex. We've been together a year. I don't want to have. That has to be really, really strong and damaging for somebody to even think that way.
Right.
And that's why I think, like I said, I know you said the whole porn addiction, but I think it's beyond that. I really do.
It can be beyond that, because there is also, the way that a woman talks to a man that could emasculate him. And he's at that point rebellious against you because you have emasculated him. So he's going to show you who in charge by not giving you something that you want. The lady in here, I think she slightly mentioned that she used to drink. There are habits that we have that turn off our spouse, because we like, I knew you like to get a drink every now and then, but girl, I ain't know you drank like this at the house. And that may be a turn off to a man if you're drinking, if you're smoking.
And that can affect, and long term, that can affect her body.
Yeah.
In a chemical imbalance way.
Right.
That could make sex difficult or not as pleasurable.
Right.
Without getting too graphic and too deep into it. But like I said, these are things you have to think about.
That, yes.
You know, as I'm going into this.
So, and Hope says, how do you handle when the spouse won't communicate or medication has an effect? Correct, because they need to communicate. That these are some conversations where you have to tell a person, I want to stay with you. I want to be in this marriage, but sex is important to me, sweetheart. What does that mean to you when I tell you sex is important to me? What are you willing to do? Because you're asking me to understand you and to sacrifice to you, but are you understanding me? Because marriage is a two-way street. That, yes, I'm going to meet you where you are, but sweetheart, that's not how we're going to be every day of the week. We're not going to meet your need all the time when it comes to sex and never meet mine. Yeah. So you have to tell this person something's going on. Something's going on, and we need to communicate. Now, if medication has an effect, y'all, there's still intimacy that can still happen for the other person. There's still things you can do to be intimate with a person. That's why I want you to read the book, A Celebration of Sex, because there are exercises in this book where they show you how to touch your spouse in multiple ways. Yeah. And it's not always about the intercourse if they are not able to get where they need to be. But this shouldn't be every day. There are people not having sex for months and years. You all know, months and years. If you're not having sex with your spouse for months and years, there's some other habits that have developed. There's some other things that you're doing. There's some other things that are definitely present in the marriage, whether y'all want to admit it or not. But any couple that's not having sex for years, you have another habit. Either it's a shopping habit, a eating habit, a drinking habit, a smoking, a drugs habit. Oh, you have another habit or a porn habit.
What's the chemical that gets released? Is it dopamine or?
Yeah.
So there is, to your point, you're doing something.
Yeah,
that's
to still get that release,
to get that release
pleasure.
Of that. Yeah.
And so God wants us to be able to get that release with each other, because that's a safe release. If you have sex, if you're stressed out, having sex with your spouse is a safe release.
Right.
It's a way of calming yourself and being able to get rid of sex in a safe place. I'm not safe when I'm drinking. I'm not safe when I'm doing a bunch of drugs. I'm not safe shopping and going into debt. Some of you, the reason, sir, your wife is shopping and running up all your credit cards because you ain't had no sex with her. If you had more sex, she wouldn't spend as much money because she got that fulfilled. I'm just saying, your wife is going to some other things. And then I got to mention this too. Some of y'all, and I got to watch the way I say it. We know you love the Lord. Amen. Amen. We know you love the Lord. We don't need to know you love the Lord during times of sex. There is a time, the Bible says there's a season for everything. Y'all make me sick. I'm trying to be, y'all. We're not turning on Tamala Man in the bedroom. I don't want to hear Fred Hammond. We not slow dancing to Mary Mary if we about to have sex. I know some of y'all know better. Some of y'all need to stop with it. Christians, I need you to understand. Y'all knew how to be attractive and romantic before you got married. But all of a sudden, when you get married, you holier than thou. You don't know. All of a sudden, you don't know what it is to be attractive after you got married. All of a sudden, you don't know that long cotton gown ain't sexy. Sir, those tighty whitey underwear that your granddaddy wore, you don't know in 2025 men ain't wearing that no more. No, when you look at your body in the mirror, when you get out the shower, do you like what you see? Do you? Because what you see is what your spouse sees. And they told me to tell you, Did they see what you see? So if you not happy with what you got going on, do something about it. But y'all be doing too much stuff like y'all don't know. Some of y'all too holy. No, ma'am. You just sat there and made that man do a 90-minute Bible study. No, he not ready to go into the bedroom. If y'all having Wednesday night Bible study at home, you're probably not going to have sex because you got him thinking just where his place is with the Lord. You didn't convicted him, got him reading all these scriptures. I just want you to read this chapter in the Bible about how you've been treating me. No, y'all not going to have sex that night and probably not tomorrow night. Some of this stuff just don't make sense to me, and it shouldn't make sense to you. Do what makes sense. It ain't that hard. Talk to people the right way. Put on something that smells good. Go find something nice to put on, y'all. Y'all, we've got this. Come on. Renee said we don't know how to bridge the gap from worldly sex and holy sex. Sex belongs to the Christians, to the married people. I don't even understand why the world is talking about sex more than the married folks that's doing it God's way. We own sex. We the ones supposed to be out here talking about, look at us and look what we do, because we get to do it. How the world out here having more sex and more fun with sex than the people who actually get to do it? I'm confused. Why have they captured and grabbed up sex, and then the married folk, the Christian folks up here like, I don't know, clutch my pearls. We barely doing it, Martha. Oh, I don't let Curtis touch me too much during the week. Because, Jesus is king. What? And then you trying to get Curtis to go to church? No, Curtis ain't going to church with you because he's at the church and stole your sexiness. You go to church so much you don't know how to be with Curtis no more. No, Curtis ain't going to church with you. I know.
Curtis just get pulled into this thing every week.
Everybody, because Curtis get mistreated. Now I'll be talking about Reggie.
Reggie Curtis, but if y'all name Reggie or Curtis, I
apologize.
I'm so sorry.
I do apologize. I'm just saying, you asking that man to go to church with you, now he ain't going to church with you because you don't know how to be the church at home and you don't know how to act right at home. Right. You don't know how to be a wife. My relationship with God is a relationship of holiness. My worship to God is different than my relationship to my husband. It's very different. When I'm in the presence of God, that is a father-daughter relationship. It's a relationship with my father, and I know how to be in worship. But I also know my father allowed me to marry my husband, and we have a different relationship. And he don't mind me loving my husband. He has gifted that. Some of y'all don't know how to stop all that. Y'all don't know how to balance the thing. I don't need to be listening to worship music, and I'm about to get into bed with my husband. Y'all. I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah, you on the roll. You on the roll.
I'm frustrated.
You're frustrated
because they're giving Christians a bad rap. This is why some of the men don't want to marry Christian women, because they think, nah, man, they so stuck up and they so holier than thou, and they can't even relate to me. What are y'all doing? No, y'all men. It's some Christian women that know how to balance this thing. Please don't throw us all in the trash. It's some of us that actually are abstaining and we ready to give. We really are. We're ready to be there. And there's some good men that, y'all, a good Christian couple is enjoying each other physically. They're repopulating the earth. They're being in a connection, and they understand that we have to stay sexually connected because, y'all, this is what helps y'all keep from getting disconnected and apart. This keeps Satan from coming in. It keeps Satan from getting a foothold in the marriage when the couple is connected sexually. Just like when y'all were dating and God said, do not have sex before marriage, because he didn't want y'all connecting with these people and having these ties to them. So the same thing he didn't want to happen in the dating, he wants to happen in the marriage. He said, I want you to be tied to your husband and wife that way. I want y'all to be so connected that way that nobody can come in and pull y'all apart.
Right.
I'm telling you, he wants the consistent sex because it's a lot of stuff you just getting over because y'all having sex. I forget what I was mad about after sex. What I said again, y'all, sex done well between a couple ends a lot of arguments. There's sometimes I won't mention arguments because I want to be with my husband that night. I say, you know what? If you bring that up right now, y'all not going to be together tonight. So don't bring that up right now, Tara, because that's going to start an argument. And I decide, because I want to have a good night, I'm just going to shut my mouth. I need some of y'all to live your life that way, that I want to deal with my spouse on a daily basis in a way that they will desire to be with me sexually. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who are struggling with addictions, you need to go and deal with that. So I see something from Hannah. She says, going back to the topic of purity gospel, talk about those who haven't been out there like that and feel awkward because they were never taught to be sexual with their spouse. Okay, Hannah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Get the book.
Get the book.
That's number one. That's number one.
Thank you. That was so easy.
That's
Hannah,
number one.
When I tell you this book is full of so much information, you going to be better than the ones who've been out here in the streets learning the wrong thing. If you get this type of book and read this, this is education. This is a textbook on marriage. It talks about intimacy. You can really be connected with your spouse in a way that others haven't connected, because the others weren't being intimate. They were just lusting and having sex. They were never truly intimate with them. So this is what I'm saying, y'all. Some of you had to level up in your marriages. Y'all just getting together, having sex, but there's no true intimacy. There's no true connection because you don't even know their body. You haven't studied their body. You haven't talked to them and studied and found out their emotions and connected with them. The more we know, the more we're connected.
One thing, but I want to go back to Hannah's comment as well, because if I'm reading into this correctly and I'm thinking about your experience versus your inexperience.
Right.
So if I'm used to a certain level, I'll say, of activities, or been involved in those activities, it's not fair for me now to go into my marriage with someone who doesn't have that same experience and expect that same thing from them.
Right.
However, I think this is where boundaries come into play. So as a spouse who don't have that experience, okay, we're going to set some boundaries. Not saying everything's off the table. If you want me to try something, I'll try something. Yeah, like I said, that book is great. Try new things, try something different. Not saying that everything or anything is on the table, but then again, setting those boundaries where you feel comfortable and that conversation happens between you two, and you come to a pretty much a happy medium of what will satisfy you both, but maybe not in the way that the other person thought it would, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think we have to start at the root of it has to be a desire to please my spouse. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Me and Jay, some years ago, came up with a year of yes. It was a year of yes as a couple, where whatever the other person asked you,
within
said
reason.
Yes. Within reason, and most of it was reasonable,
Yeah.
You said yes. So, and we were able to tell each other truthfully and honestly what we desired in the marriage. So it was like, hey, I was like, babe, I ain't saying you got to have a 6-pack, but I want some packs. I want something. Can you go to the gym? Can you make that a thing? He said, yes, ma'am. And he started going to that gym 4:00 in the morning. I'm talking about that's 5 years ago. He still go. I mean, amen. And so it was a hard conversation for me to have at the time. But I said, babe, I really want you to care about what I see and that I'm attracted. Just because we're getting older, we're not going to let ourselves go. And he said, yes, I could do that for you. I said, because I want to be attracted to you forever. And I'm not saying that you have to always be built up, but I want to see that you're trying. I want to see that you care about what I see. Since your body is mine, I want the maintenance of my body to be an intentional thing that you do. And I'm going to promise you, I'll do the same. I will make sure that you are forever attracted if it's in my power to do that. Now, if you're sick and other things going on, that's one thing. But if you're just lazy sitting around eating Lay's potato chips and a whole slices of cake all day, right, I'm going to think you don't care about what I want and what to see. So we did that. We served each other. Whatever he said he wanted. When he said, well, it's certain things I want to see you dressed up in for bed, I said, well, go buy it. Whatever you want. Whatever you see on the internet, go buy it. And he brought some stuff in there that had me looking at him sideways. But I put it on and I'm laughing. I'm like, well, this is what you like? And I just put it on. I didn't make him feel funky about it. I didn't
Right.
make him. I said, "This is what you like. This type of stuff you want to see," and I just put it on. The desire to please your spouse has to, at a point, become a thing where you say, because I don't know about sex and it's not my wheelhouse, if my spouse is trying to teach me, if my spouse is trying to walk me through it, I need to be in a listening mode. I need to be in a teachable mode. If they are the expert more and they're more naturally affectionate, naturally more sexual, I can learn from them. Just like everything we talk about, y'all, we say if you got the one spouse that's good with money management and you're not, let them be the teacher. Those of you who do not know a lot about sex and intimacy, you cannot stand stubborn and 10 toes down saying, I just don't know about it. So that's just it. That's just where we're going to be. No, that means let your spouse lead it. Your spouse say, hey, we need to do more of this. Hey, I want you to try this. Let them lead it since you don't know. Let them lead it, and then tell them when you're not comfortable, but then tell them why. Y'all need to get the root of that, because some of you in the purity culture have a really warped sense about sex. It's perverted for you, and it shouldn't be. I'm sorry. It should not be, and you got to go back to who made it perverted for me. Did my parents say something? Who said something? So we got one more question down here. Is there a possibility that we can seek open communication and help each other heal from the past trauma and lead to fulfilling sex relationship and marriage? Yes, Renee, just what I talked about. It took me and my husband saying, can we talk for real, like candid?
Yeah.
Can we stop with the fake, like, oh, honey, I know it's kind of hard. Because sometimes couples don't talk about something because they're scared of hurting each other's feelings. And they go really, really, they're like, I can't say that to them because they're going to have a fit. I can't say that to them. They're going to hurt their feelings. I can't say that to them because they're going to shut down. Y'all stop that. Because what you're doing is you're sitting in a fake marriage. You're resentful. You're upset. And your spouse doesn't know. And trust me, your resentfulness is coming out in that marriage. It's still coming out. The things you're not doing, the things you're getting upset about. So y'all have to come together as a couple and say, can we just talk real talk? Can we just, and me and him had that conversation. It was uncomfortable. It was like, can we just say, can I just say what I need? Can I just say what's not doing it for me? We had to talk about that. We had to say, hey, in the bed, when you do this, I love it. But when you do this, it's a turnoff. Please don't do that. Because, you know, y'all as men, when y'all young, they be psyching y'all head up sometimes about women won't. Well, about what women want. You'll have a man telling you, this what you got to do for them girls. No, he lied. Your big brother and them bros, they lied. You have to ask a woman, your woman, what does she like? Because all women don't like the same things. And men lie a lot of times about what women like because some woman told him she liked that and she didn't. So a lot of men, please, you have to ask a woman what she wants on her body and what feels good. Y'all got to communicate during sex, communicate after sex, communicate before sex. It's okay.
Yeah, it is. And it's so important. Even down to the smallest thing of, let's say, smells.
Oh, Lord, you know me.
Perfumes or colognes or, you know, or if you don't wear them and maybe that's a turn on, you need to put it on, you know? So, and I know we got to wrap up, but I think it all boils down to as well, when you're communicating, don't rule anything out. And even if it's something you're uncomfortable with or something that, now, if it's a triggering from past trauma, totally get it out and talk about it. But if it's something that you're uncomfortable, say it. Say, I've never done this before. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Will you work with me on it? Now, don't go to the straight shut down. I'm uncomfortable. I ain't gonna do it. Period.
Right.
Point blank, period.
And at least say, I'll try this with you. And then I can tell you, okay, I don't like that, babe. I did it and it did not. I didn't like it.
Because I will tell you from a man's perspective, if I'm being intimate with you and I love you and I care about you and I see that you're trying to do something and it's making you uncomfortable, I don't want you to do it.
Right.
I wouldn't want to, because I'm like, okay, this is something that's emotionally harming her.
Right.
And so it's communication, man. It goes.
And don't get mad when they say that, y'all. They say, I don't really like that, babe. It's just not. I don't feel sexy doing that, and I don't like it. You still got to listen. Don't force it, and don't feel like they're being personally rejecting you either. These are called conversations. Like we talk about it all. Like, he knows I'm a smells person. I have a very strong sense of smell. So I'm like, baby, everybody got to brush their teeth. Like, because if I get a whiff of bad breath, you didn't kill the whole night. So, and I feel so good that we say that. So he know that ain't personal. He said, hold on, let me go brush my teeth first because I know how you are. He don't say, well, no, you should just love me with my stinky breath. No, because he know it's going to be a long night. If I smell your breath, it's not happening for me. And so, y'all, we have to have those conversations. You have to be able to tell the person what you like. So we got through it, babe. It wasn't as bad as we thought it would be.
Yeah.
Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Y'all all right?
Yep.
Y'all all right? So, thank y'all. I want to go ahead again and tell you about the book. Thank you guys for sharing the podcast. Thank you for liking it. Remember the book, Marriage is a Beautiful Thing, but I wish I would have known. Y'all get the book. We talk about all this type of stuff in this book here, okay? So get that on Amazon. And Jay, I'm supposed to give out the free book tonight. What you mean? Ooh, I already got the name.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
I got the name. This book tonight is going out to Georgette. If you haven't got the book, Georgette, this book is yours. So please email me, info@tarabody.com, so I can get your address, sign it, and send it in the mail. Georgette, if you already got it, then give it to somebody, okay? Pass it on to somebody. But Georgette is our winner for sharing the podcast and being a faithful viewer. So we appreciate you all sharing the podcast and putting it out there consistently. We really, really appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you so much too for that affirmation. We're glad you all are on here and constantly enjoying. We hope you're gaining from this. This is just real talk, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Christians should be talking about
it.
It's
Real talk.
We should.
Yeah.
So, anything you got, Jay?
Nope. Get your taxes done before midnight.
Boy, yeah, get up off of here so Uncle Sam don't get you. But also, if you need counseling, y'all, because I could counsel, definitely. Some of you need it, come in. And especially premarital, we got to talk about this stuff. I do premarital counseling. Go to www.tarabody.com, go on to services. Georgette, send me your email and I'm going to mail you the book, okay? Send me your address. Email me your address at info@tarabody.com. And I am going to mail you the book, okay? Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. We're here. We here. Tired or not. We here every Tuesday night. So you all come on. Thank you, Hilda, for coming on. I saw you, Dora, Renee, all of you who constantly watch us. We appreciate it. And this has been Tyra
and Jason
with God in Therapy. Y'all have a good night.